So sometimes we might want to have a little interaction with the user. In my experience, you don't need to be very heavy on this, and the most that I've really done is to tell them something's happened, perhaps no more than the macro is finished, to ask them a yes or no question, or to get a value from them, which then the macro will then take and do either one thing or the other, or whatever it will do using that. But you can also get more input than that from the user and do something rather more complicated, and we'll see how to do that as well. So the first way of interacting with the user is the message box, and this is the instruction that I have used more than any other. It's really quite flexible, quite useful. Because the macro is doing quite a lot of work on its own, it doesn't really often want too much input from the user, and this method is more than adequate for doing that. So the syntax for it is this message box, msg_VBA08, and it has 3 arguments, 3 things that need to be put into it. And the first is the string, which will appear as the question or the statement that you want to give to the user. Next is the style of the box. Now the style of the box means the box can have just an OK button on it, which the user just has to press just to acknowledge really that they've received the message, or you can have a yes and a no button and the user presses one of those 2 things, or you can have a few other bits and pieces as well, which you can see on the slide. And the last is title, which is another piece of text, and that's what appears at the top on the banner of the box. And in my experience, most people ignore these anyway, but those are the only 3 things that you need to put into it. And in fact, when you run this command or this method, it will bring back a value to you, which will be held in the variable y, and you can use that if you need to. So if the user's pressed either yes or no, that will appear in that value y. If they've just hit OK, the y still holds a value. Of course, you just know that the user has pressed OK. The input box is rather similar to the messaging box. The difference is just that it's a bit more flexible, and what it's doing it's saying, I don't want just a yes or no from your user, I want you to put a value in here, and that value can be text or numeric. And the format of it is even simpler. So it's just this input box command. The prompt is the text, which is the question that you're asking the user, and the title is that text which appears across on the banner on the top of the box. Right, so to demonstrate some of these techniques of communicating with the user, I'm going to write a macro now. This is the spreadsheet we used over the last few lessons, so it's got a few macros in it already. I'm going to write another one down here. The first line I'm going to give a name to, because I want to come back to this line if the user puts an incorrect value into our box. Y is going to hold the value of the input that the user makes into the input box. This next line is an if statement, and I'm going to put if not. We didn't see that before, but obviously that means if the truth value of this formula is false, then the if statement will run. The isNumeric formula is a bit like the isNumber formula in Excel. I don't know why one uses isNumber and one uses isNumeric. Beep is a command that just makes a beep, as you might imagine. You may have noticed here that the VBA08 only is a fixed value used by VBA, and the OK you can see and the O again all went into capitals because the Visual Basic recognised that this is one of its own reserved values, and that's the value which says that I only want an OK button on this message box. What I've also used in here, which we haven't seen before, is this thing worksheet function. And what that means is this particular function here proper is not a VBA function, but it is available in Excel. So for those occasions when there isn't something you can use in VBA, you can also use all the functions which work in Excel itself. So the proper function, as you may know, changes the value of text so that at the beginning, the first letter in every word goes to uppercase. So what this little section of the code does is it says, well, if this value that's been passed back to us by the user is not numeric, then run this bit of code, which beeps at the user to distract their attention and sends another message box to them to say you must enter a number. Let's correct that. Not text or symbols, and then you've got an OK button. It says something which just appeals to my sense of humour. Please concentrate, and that'll say please concentrate, Adam. And then it says go to Nigel. If you remember, we named this line Nigel. It's a name because it appears before this colon, and this means that the code will send Excel back to run this line again, so it's going to ask again for this number using this input box. And what we're going to do here is just say, okay, we're going to punch the value so we can see it. There we go. Okay, let's go back to our regular spreadsheet and get that to run. I'm going to create a new tab, I think, or unhide one. Okay, and the value is going to appear here, so I'll just put a button here so I can run it easily. Hold down Alt. I call this one Messenger. Okay. I'll change the name to Messenger. Oh, actually, I'm going to change it to Get a Value. Okay, let's see if it'll run. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put something here which is not a number, and this is now the message box coming up saying that we must enter numbers and not text or symbols. So we click OK, and it goes back to the input box. So this time I'm not going to try and fill it. I'm going to put a regular number. It pushes the number into that cell there, and the macro finishes. That's it. If you want to ask more complicated questions of your user, you can actually go ahead and design your own form. So this is another box, another input box really, and you can build this yourself, and then you can get the macro to call it and bring it up for the user to fill it in. And all of those controls which we can see on the Developers tab in regular Excel can be used to build these forms up. I have never found a proper use for this. I think they take a long time to build, and I think they're a bit more ambitious than most people want to do. What you're doing here really is you're building yourself a full database with these things. So I'm not going to cover them. I'm only going to mention that that's the way they work.